I feel like a dysfunctional broom. I feel like I see the dirt in front of me, so I know what I need to clean up, but my straw or bristles, whatever, are afraid, so they don't pick up all the dirt. And so I'm trying to take on, I think the bristles represent like all different types of tasks, and I'm kind of trying to take them all on at once or doing part of them at a time and not finishing most of them. And I know what the tasks are that need to be done because I can see the dirt, but
well,
I'm leaving a trail behind them.
We disagree with you in this big way. We think that you misunderstand the task because you're looking at yourself as flawed and in need of a cleaning. And we're looking at you as perfect and in need of awareness that you're perfect. And we appreciate hearing these heartfelt, poignant words from you because you're sort of speaking on the behalf of so many people who have become convinced somehow that you came here to make something happen or to undo something that had happened before. In other words, sometimes we want to just zap all of you with the feeling of well-being that we have about you. We would just sort of like to shake out of you all that stuff that got into you that says I'm inappropriate or I'm not enough or I've got stuff that needs to be cleaned up. We want so much for you to say, here's where I am, so what, now where do I want to be? And the analogy that we offer with the navigational systems must feel so lightweight that it is irritating to so many of you, but we really mean it when we say that Magellan never says to Jerry and Esther, where have you been? Magellan always just says, all right, here's the route from where you are to where you want to be. That's it. And we really want you to get it, that first of all, it would not be possible for you to compare where you are to where everybody else is. That relativity doesn't exist. And you don't need to do it anyway. You didn't come into this body because there was something that you were supposed to achieve. You came into this body because it looked like a really wonderful way to spend eternity. It looked like so much fun. You said, I'd like to go forth into this environment where I could be stimulated to new ideas. And you knew that once a new idea was active in you, that source energy would make all the arrangements and all you had to do was enjoy the unfolding. So we offer processes like scripting or like appreciating, the sort of cleaning up stuff that you're talking about, not because we think you need to clean stuff up, but because when you play those games that make you feel better and cause you to focus on what you want, all it does is soften your resistance and cause you to let in the stuff that you so much deserve. If we could slap you with a deserving stick, we would. In other words, there's nothing that we would like to convey more to you than that there is nothing wrong with you and that things should go good for you. And sometimes we think we work against ourselves and against you knowing that when we write book after book with process after process that makes you think you're a broom that needs to clean something up. You don't need to clean anything up. You're fine as you are, but if there's something you want, we think you should have it. And if you're unhappy where you are and you want to go someplace else, we think you should go there. But we really don't want you to think you should go there because somebody else thinks that you should be someplace other than you should be. And that's the way we find almost all of you. You've been so busy comparing yourselves to each other and giving this one a good grade and this one a bad grade and this one the right mark on the chart and this one the wrong mark on the chart that you have done such a number, not just you, but so many of you, on your own sense of worthiness. You see, and you're so worthy. You're dripping with worthiness. You are the center of the universe. The non-physical fairies of the universe are knocking themselves out. No, it's not like that at all. It's easy for us. We are doing everything in aligning things just the way you want it to be. But you've got to find some way of lightening up on yourself. You've got to find some way of accepting that it should be good for you. And in fact, it has been good for you in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way, and this way.
Oh, I feel like I've had moments of connecting with Source. And,
yes.
And it feels awesome. And
well, you know what happens? Those of you who find your way over here, it's really an interesting thing. The energy here is fascinating to observe because many of you have made your way here because you are sensitive beings who almost cannot endure the chaotic energy of other places. And so in the sense that you've left what didn't feel good to get to a place that feels better, you might temporarily feel a little better, but it has left you ill-prepared to deal with the energy of the world. And so we want you to just become almost boisterous in your acknowledgement of your ability to be anywhere. You're not different from many, but you have, in an exaggerated way, been compared to the point that you have become a comparer of yourself to so many. And that's why we talk all day, every day about vibrational relativity. And you know what the 2 points of relativity are? Where you are and where you want to be, leaving everybody else out of the equation, you see. So when you say, I want to clean something up, we want to say, well, we want you to close that gap too, but let's not be so dramatic about it. In other words, when Esther is in despair, which occasionally happens, rarely, but occasionally, when something that she really cares about looks like it's going amiss, she said to Jerry the other day, no one ever listens to me. And Jerry said, you want to say that again? You might want to say, sometimes people listen to me. In other words, Esther, who's heard all of this, still sees something that she really cares about that looks like it's going off the wrong way, and she feels powerless for a moment and then gets mad. And we say, good for you, get mad, because mad feels so much better than powerless, you see. So clean it up, don't clean it up. Clean it up if it feels better. Don't clean it up if you don't feel like it. If it really matters, we notice you clean it up. So what desire do you hold that makes all this feel so poignant?
I mean, what positive desire do I hold? What do I want to achieve? Or do you mean what's keeping me from achieving it? I think I know what's keeping me from achieving that. I think it's disorganization and procrastination. They're two words that come to my mind that I can see the end result. I know what I need to do to achieve the end result, but because of procrastination,
you are making it even easier for us to acknowledge how it is that you've come to this place of not being proud of yourself, because these are action things that people can watch and then judge and then compare to others. So we want to give you our perspective on both disorganization and procrastination. Procrastination is you being sensitive to energy and knowing when a doorway opens that would really be productive, and not being willing to try to pry the door open before the energy's lined up. And we say everything that we've known that you would call God and good and productive procrastinates in just that way, because we never try to force something before the energy is aligned. Okay. Esther was supposed to make airline reservations a few years back and couldn't bring herself to do it. And Jerry said, you need to get on that. And Esther said, I know, it's on my list, I'll do it soon. But every time she'd go to do it, she could not make herself do it. And then Jerry is teasing her, the longer you wait, the fewer seats there are. The longer you wait, the more money we'll have to pay for the tickets. I know. I'll do it. It's on my list. But when she'd go to do it, she could not make herself do it. And then after days and days and days of self-torture, she was really sort of mad at herself, and Jerry was not helping any, because he was sort of thinking that she should get on it too. She laid down ready to go to bed one night, and all of a sudden she got the impulse to get those airline tickets, and she got up. There was no sensation of procrastination. She went to the telephone, she got her book out, and she dialed her one-pass number with Continental Airlines and got the most delightful person who was playful, who booked flight after flight after flight after flight after flight after flight, and every seat was available, and every one of them was upgradable to first class, just using the vouchers or the airline miles that they'd accumulated. It was like a sort of miracle. Esther said to the woman, do you have time for another? And the woman would laugh, yes, let's go for it. Do you have time for another? And you know what was interesting? As they flew those flights, every flight flew. There wasn't a delay, there wasn't a cancellation. Nothing was wrong with any of that bank of flights, because Esther was inspired, and she did not act until the inspiration led her. When you motivate yourself, that's when the energy isn't lined up. So next time that you feel inclined to call yourself a procrastinator, instead call yourself a sensor of energy alignment who's not willing to do the hard work of acting unless the energy's lined up. Now, in terms of organization, here's what we know about organization. Organization, oh, you should see the organization that's happening on this broader, non-physical level. When you think about the power of law of attraction and what is known that is wanted by you and all of the stuff that is in vibrational escrow, we can't even begin to convey to you the perfection and the power of the organizational level. You talk about a concierge in the sky. You talk about a real estate agent in the sky. You talk about a matchmaker in the sky. In other words, all of this stuff is lined up for you. And so when you say, I need to get organized, we want you next time to say, instead of I need to get organized, which means I need to take action, instead say, I need to get myself in vibrational alignment with what feels good. I need to be kinder to me. I need to be softer to me. I need to be lighter to me. I need to get myself in a place where I can receive the impulse that will take me to the most productive action. Because organization isn't about, oh, Esther had lists that 10 people couldn't do, and the top of the list said things to do today. We held parties just to laugh at her list. Look what she's not going to do today, we would all say, as she would drag these lists around. And then she computerized the list, which made it possible for her to even put more things on the list. And then she made buttons that put A, B's, and C's on them, so that these are the things that really matter today. These are the important things that I'm not going to get to today, and these are the less important things that I'm not going to get here today. And everything she added to the list just buried her deeper and deeper and deeper into the abyss of overwhelmment, you see. And so one day they were sitting at dinner, and there was a big paper napkin in front of them, and Esther said, Abraham, Jerry had gone to wash his hands, Abraham, what will I do? Because it was not possible. She was utterly buried in her good intentions to be a worthwhile citizen and meet all of her responsibilities to all of the people who were needing things from her. And we said, let's take a look at your list, Esther. And we did not laugh audibly, so she did not hear us. Let us take a look at your things to do today list. And so she got out her notebook, pages of things that she was going to do today. And we said, choose 5 things that either you must do or that you want to do, and write them on the left side of this placemat. Draw a line down the middle, and on the left side write things I will do today. And on the other side write things that I will ask the universe to do today. And then we said, pick 5 things and write them down. And so Esther looked through the pages of the list and found things that needed to be done, and one thing that she really wanted to do, wrote them on the list. And then we said, now put everything else on the other side of the placemat. So Esther sat all through this meal and transferred item after item after item to the other side of the list. And with every item that she transferred, she felt lighter and lighter and lighter, because this process was causing her to apply the laws or the rules of the 3 steps. In other words, step 1 is she was asking. In other words, she had already asked for that. And as she delegated it to the universe, she released her sense of responsibility, which was the thing that was stuck in her vibrational craw. That day, she got her 5 things done. The 4 things that she needed to do, and the 1 thing that she wanted to do. And the universe took care of twice as many. People called that she needed to talk to. People tended to things without her even asking. She received things in the mail that let her cross other things off the list. In other words, more got done on the universe's side of the placemat, because when you ask, it is given. When you stop worrying about it, it's given fast, you see.
I'm saying that's what my wife keeps telling me. Let the universe
But you know
do
what's
it.
happening to you, and you're not alone in this. You are trying to justify your existence through hard work. And so what you're literally saying to the universe is, I know I don't deserve this, but if I work really hard, maybe I will be able to eke out some deservability. And that just backfires, because you're already worthy, but when you're working hard to compensate for your feeling of unworthiness, you exaggerate your feeling of unworthiness and you split your energy, and then you hold yourself apart from what's over there in vibrational escrow that you deserve, you see. We would love it if every one of you could get on some contraption and go somewhere where you couldn't hear a telephone and you couldn't get email and you couldn't do anything that you think is a responsible thing that you should be doing. We would just love you to all be kidnapped and taken to a place where you are not allowed to do the stuff that you try to do every day to justify your existence. And within 3 months, you would be living a better life. Because if you give up, if you say, okay, I give up, they won't let me do my list. They won't let me worry about this. They won't let me fuss and fume. In other words, it's just not allowed here on this island of tranquility. That's where you thought you were coming. They won't let me. You would relax into this state of well-being.